Okay, good afternoon. We're back again. Welcome to the stream and welcome to this live coverage of the CPI and inflation rate data we have. Let me quickly, as always, notify everybody that we're live. Let me see. Okay, there. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the stream. Markets have been, markets... You can very quickly see how the markets have been doing if you take a look at the price action of Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. But hope you're getting through it a little bit safely. I mean, honestly, it's quite easy to avoid. I'd say. I mean, yesterday, for example, I think a lot of people got trapped here, but ultimately, it's quite easy to know that something like this was a possibility. Of course. That doesn't mean that it's easy to predict, but it is predictable ultimately. Okay, let me quickly tell everyone that we are live in there and in there, and that's it. I think we're going to keep it at that. So, user, welcome to the stream. Raghwendra, welcome to the stream. And very good to hear. I mean, yesterday, honestly, when I uploaded the video, I was a little bit scared because obviously, when we're talking about Bitcoin right here, let me quickly look at the 1 hour time frame. Like I uploaded the video right here, and in the video I said I think we're most likely going to be bearish, but I do think we can spike up, and that is ultimately what happened, right? We spiked up, we filled the entire liquidity gap, and then we dropped down lower. So in the end, I was right, but when it actually happened, I thought, I just uploaded a bearish video. We have a ton of bullish momentum coming in. I might be wrong. I actually thought I was wrong. There was so much momentum coming in. I thought, okay, we're just going to be bullish now. But eventually, a lot of longs got trapped. We never got the confirmation. So luckily, I personally did not get trapped. And it became better. Okay. Zen Guy, welcome to the stream. And what's up, man? How are you? KMLNW, welcome to the stream. Fred, welcome to stream. PDComs, Bruno, welcome. Maruti, welcome to the stream. George, welcome. Hank, welcome to the stream. Hey, good. How do you know I'm rich? I'm not rich. Listen, I trade with $10, so don't assume I'm rich. You never know, right? You never know. And trust me, there's a lot of traders in crypto that you think are rich, but they don't have any money. so don't assume something like that. Rightis, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Parmeshwar, welcome to the stream. Tahar, welcome to the stream. Lounge of Future, welcome to the stream. How's everyone doing? Is everyone still enjoying the markets right now? Obviously, the markets are not very enjoyable, but there are things going on, right? Barbie Bike Gang, welcome to the stream. Okay, so we have news coming in. Inflation rate data in about 5 minutes. CPI and inflation rate data and core inflation rate data. These are all important, right? I mean, inflation rate, core inflation rate, CPI, they're all a little bit different, but ultimately still quite good. Or quite good. They're all important. That's what I want to say. And ultimately, what we want to see is lower than expected data, right? So we see the consensus right here. The consensus for the CPI is 325.13. The consensus for the core inflation rate is 3. The consensus for the inflation rate year on year is 3.1. So we want to see lower than that. If it's lower than that, that's bullish. Now here the tricky part comes in. If the data is bullish, that does not always mean that we're going to get a bullish reaction. Okay, because what has happened, and I'm just going to say that I have a little bit of a hiccup. I've said this before, but what sometimes happens is when we get good data, that data is actually used by OTC desks or whales to offload their position, right? So they start selling if we get good news, because retail, you and I, we see good news, we buy. And if we buy, we're obviously also exit liquidity for someone who wants to sell. So be careful. I mean, personally, I think news trading with economic data, at least, I don't think that's worth it anymore. So that's also not what I'm going to do, unless, for example, we get some shorts trapped. Right, so if we get a bullish move and we reject from a strong resistance level and we trap a lot of longs at the top there, now that's interesting. That's interesting to short. But unless something like that happens, I'm not going to force anything. Okay, so that's kind of the game plan going into the news right here. James, welcome to the stream. How are you, man? Alcoholic Click, welcome to the stream. Payment option in your website. Maruti, if you go to cilinix.com, you can just find it. Daniel, no problem. There was something though with Chainlink, and I wasn't able to find it, but I spoke about it in the video, real brief. But there, I saw an article with Chainlink yesterday that they're actually either depositing or withdrawing a lot of link from Binance. I'm a little bit scared about that, okay? Because I do actually hold some Chainlink in spot. I only hold Bitcoin and Chainlink at the moment, and they're not major positions. Bitcoin is a major position, but Chainlink isn't. But still, it's something to realize. Launch your future. That's the best thing you can do at work. Yeah, the news is in 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes and a little bit. And Merry Christmas, Nicola Davis. I'm not sure if you're living in the future, but Christmas for me is still some time away. Andrew Pilatos, nothing yet. The news is coming out in 2 minutes. John Ellis, I don't have any I don't have any prediction on the CPI. It's it makes no sense. I mean, I think if we would have to have a prediction, it would be based on all the previous data. Then I would say it's either going to be as expected or a little bit higher than expected, which in both scenarios, I don't think that matters. I mean, ultimately, this data is going to bring about volatility, and volatility, I have a bit of a bearish bias on Bitcoin at this point of time, but volatility means opportunities. Simpleton, yes, I did see the Uniswap vote. I'm not sure what to think of it though in terms of price action. I mean, I saw some bullish momentum, of course, but it's like the volume is very high. But I'm not sure. I mean, with Uniswap right now, we've had major proposals now a couple of times, and every time I think, oh, this proposal is major. Now we can actually rally. Now Uniswap is actually going to be bullish, but it's just it just hasn't led the price anywhere the last couple of times. So I have to be a little bit skeptic going into this proposal. Clip Gold, it's no, it doesn't affect the long term unless it's much different than expected. Maruti, maybe I can do that. It's not going to be easy though, but it's quite easy. I mean, you can just text me on Telegram as well and send a screenshot there. It's not too difficult, I think. If you just DM me on Telegram, make sure you have the right username, of course. There's a lot of scammers as well on Telegram. But yeah. John Salvo, we'll talk about that in a moment. We have data coming in. Very important data. Kalpesh, I made a video on BitTensor yesterday, a long-term prediction. So make sure to check that out. Everything I want to say is in there. Daniel, yes, but I mean, look, I'll talk a little bit about the Bank of Japan rate hike in a moment. Ultimately, I think it's a little bit overstated. Okay, news coming in. There we go. Inflation rate data. What do we see? The market is a little bit bullish right now, as you can see. That's pretty good. Wow. Oh, shit. This is good data. This is actually pretty good. This is actually pretty bullish. 2.6. Core inflation rate is 2.6. It's 0.4% lower than expected. That is good data. Okay. Inflation rate itself is 2.7. Wow. Okay. CPI is also lower than expected. I have to say, this is bullish. This is very bullish. Wow. Okay. I might even have to think about potentially buying here. This is I've never seen something like this, or at least it's been a while since I've seen something like this. Inflation rate is much lower than expected. I said this morning in my Bitcoin video that if we get very good data with the CPI and the inflation rate data, maybe then we can turn bullish. And now I have to think whether this is actually that good of news that we can get a bullish breakout. I mean, obviously, it's very good news. Okay, I cannot understate this. The inflation rate being 2.7, the CPI is lower than it was previously. Okay, so that means at least for November, it's older data, right? So this is data from back in November. So the previous data is from back in October. But the CPI being lower than in October means that the prices actually went down from October to November. Now, whether everybody felt that in their wallets, who knows? But it is true. It is true. Yeah, pretty good news. Yeah, data out already. We're talking about it, David. But now we need to see technical confirmation. I mean, the data is good. So for everybody who's tuning in a little bit later, we just got the CPI and inflation rate data. The CPI is lower than expected and also lower than previously. The core inflation rate was expected to be 3%, is 2.6%. The inflation rate year on year was expected to be 3.1%, is 4.7%. Much lower than expected, which means that it becomes less likely that we are going to get more rate cuts, right? Well, no. I said that wrong. It's less likely that we're going to keep higher interest rates, right? So this allows the Federal Reserve, hopefully, to cut the interest rate in the United States more, which is good. That's good for financial markets. It's good for risky assets. Guys, it's a possibility. Who knows? But this is the only data we have, right? So we have to take it at face value, at least to a certain extent, whether it's manipulated or not. Yeah, so very good data. Let me quickly post about this in my in the premium group as well, because they really need to know. But good data is one. But I just told you, even if we get good data, we actually need to get some sort of a technical confirmation as well. If there's no technical confirmation with the bullish news is actually going to be bearish news. And you can see right now with the spike up, like we have $100 million of longs here between 88,200 and 88,500. If the price now starts falling, those longs are going to be trapped, and this can actually lead to a very bearish move, right? So that's how bullish data and bullish news can sometimes lead to the most bearish price action there is, if it's not sustained, right? And that is something we'll have to see right now. Can it be sustained? Can we get an actual technical bearish or technical bullish breakout? Technical bullish confirmation? If yes, we can rally a lot. If no, we're going to reverse super aggressively, and that is something to be something to be quite careful about, to be honest with all of you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so now we watch. We simply wait. That's all we can do. Yeah. A pump and dump for the yen, Melvin. I don't think so. Don't think it matters that much. Maybe short term, but long term, don't think so. Access to a chart like this. This is Kiyotaka.ai. And then you look up the aggregated footprint chart. There you go. Yes, Simon, that's the major question. The major question right now is, okay, the news is good. right? So for everybody tuning in later as well, the news is good. We have seen quite a lot of longs coming in, so that's pretty good as well. But now we need to see confirmation. And I think we are going to see confirmation, or we're not going to see confirmation. We're going to see rejection when the US opens. But it's good to know that ETF inflows do not, like ETF inflows are usually not directly influencing the markets. Medium term they do, but if we get a lot of ETF inflows, for example, today, that doesn't necessarily mean that all of that Bitcoin is going to be bought today. So that's kind of the problem that we have with ETF inflows, and that's also why, for example, if you look at the Solana ETF inflows, Solana has had quite a lot of ETF inflows, but has it really affected the price? No, and because it's not bought from the open markets. ETF inflows are also indirectly they're obviously related to the open market, but they're not bought directly from the open market. So ETF inflows will not instantly affect the price of Bitcoin. Inflation is cooler. CPI was lower than expected. Inflation rates, core inflation rates, all lower than expected, and not only lower than expected, but much lower than expected. Okay, so good data. This is good news. Whatever the price does, the price can sometimes be wrong, right? The price sometimes is samenwerking with Kiyotaka.ai. No, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, the price can be wrong. The price can be inefficient. The price can be lagging. Ultimately, this is good news because it allows the interest rates from the Federal Reserve, right, in the United States, it allows them, if it stays low like this, it allows them to actually cut rates more often. Now, I'm not certain if I can already see that right now. Let me quickly check on Polymarket. You cannot hear me. Now you can. So this is why it's bullish news, right? If you look at the data, the probabilities of getting a 25%, 0.25% decrease of the interest rate in January, right? January is the next meeting for the Federal Reserve. The probability was 22%. It's now 27%. And that's bullish. Rate cuts, as long as there's no recession, it's bullish, right? So that's why this data is bullish. Now, like I said, bullish data really does not always mean that the price is going to be bullish. So that is definitely something that that you should take into account. I mean, never buy bullish news unless it's fully unexpected. But it's right now we'll just have to wait. We'll just have to wait. We have to keep an eye on the order flow. I mean, right now you can see, like I just said, that between 88,100 and 88,500, we got a bunch of longs coming in. I don't like that because these will be trapped if we see a bearish US Open. Okay, so if you look at Bitcoin right now, if we have a US Open that goes like this, those longs there will be trapped, and we can spike down all the way into 86,000 in minutes. Right, so that's why it's a little bit of a tricky situation right now. There's definitely going to be opportunities today and tomorrow, but it is tricky. Completely right. You're completely right, Alun. There are a lot of traps during the holiday seasons, and that is just the truth. Ragwendra, it's fine. Trading options only it's fine. If trading options works for you, that's fine. I mean, the bottom line is, do you make money, right? That's the bottom line. And if you are, that's great news. And options as an instrument are fine. I know a bunch of people who make money just trading options, so it's fine. Case Sanders, I don't think so. I think whoever is going to be named as the Federal Reserve President, chair, he's going to be doing what Trump wants. Not exactly, but he's going to at least hold the same values as Trump holds, right? So he's going to be dovish. He is going to be in favor of more rate cuts. it's going to be quite direct maybe as well. But no, I think all of the candidates that are left right now are fine, and it's probably going to be the Warsh guy or the other. I think at the moment, I mean, if you look at the probabilities, it's either Hassett or Warsh, and both of those have said that they're most likely going to do what Trump wants. I think Christopher Waller actually came out and he said something like, "No, I really want to keep the Federal Reserve independent." So maybe if Christopher Waller is chosen, maybe that's slightly bearish. But ultimately, I don't think so. Market so far pretty good. Yeah, so tomorrow or later today, maybe I'll make a video about it today. Tomorrow, of course, we have the Bank of Japan meeting in the morning. So be aware of that. I mean, if you have any positions open at the end of the day, we're going to go into a very volatile night. But ultimately, look, I think the Bank of Japan meeting, everybody is talking about it. Everybody is very scared of it. Personally, I'm not. One of the key reasons why the interest rate hike by the Bank of Japan was such major news back in 2024 was because the carry trade was unwinding. And if you know what the carry trade is, you know that the change from 0% to 0.25% was major. 0.25 to 0.5% as well. 0.5 to 0.75 is major as well. And it's bearish, but first of all, they have already signaled this for a very long time. So I think it's partially at least priced in. And then second of all, the more they hike it, the more of the carry trade has already unwinded. So it becomes less bearish. So yes, I do expect volatility. Tomorrow is also quadruple witching. But that is, so it's going to be volatile either way, but that is what I would expect. Volatility, not necessarily bullish or bearish momentum. This is quite interesting on Solana. Solana is quite strong right here. That is very, very interesting, I think. This might be a nice opportunity, but we'll see. No, the rate announcement will probably not be bullish. I mean, we might get, sometimes you get something like, buy the news, right? So you might say that everybody is afraid of the interest rate decision. So if there's no crash after the interest rate decision, people might get euphoric and say, "Oh, it was all for nothing. Now I'm bullish," and then we might get a spike. But it's going to be it's going to be short-term volatility either way. It's not going to change the long-term prospect, I'd say. Case Sanders, yes, you're right, but that's already priced in. We already know that. We already know that they are most likely going to want to cut rates, but they are not the ones that decide to cut rates. It's the entire Federal Reserve Board. So we already know that he's going to bring in someone who is going to be in favor of cuts, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the cuts are going to happen, and we know that, so it's priced in. So ultimately, I don't think a major change in direction will happen because of that. MJS about Pippin, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea when they're going to make that crash, when they're going to make it crash, or even if they're going to make it crash. Who knows, right? Who knows? It's going to happen. Who knows when? And like I said yesterday, I think short term it's actually a little bit more likely that we're going to continue to see bullish momentum. Okay, so we're going to quickly, well, not quickly, we're going to slowly end this live stream for everybody who's tuning in here at the end. First of all, a late but very, very well meant welcome to the stream. We got good data today. We had the CPI and inflation rate data. The most important ones are CPI, inflation rate data year on year, and core inflation rate year on year. All of them were lower than expected, and all of them were lower than expected by quite a wide margin, which is bullish. Now, that's bullish in long term. That's bullish when we're talking about the monetary policy of the Federal Reserve for 2026. Does that mean that we are instantly going to break out with the markets? Ultimately, no. The key level that Bitcoin really needs to break above right here is this level right here. I would say at 89,000. If we're able to get a high volume, sustained breakout above 89,000, It's going to be volatile either way. Okay, so please know that, and please be careful for that. But then we can get bullish momentum. Until then, I would say it's better to be relatively safe, be sidelined, wait for the confirmation, and maybe look at some other opportunities rather than Bitcoin. I mean, like I said, if you look at something like Solana, I think Solana actually looks quite a bit better than Bitcoin right here if we are able to reclaim 126, 125. Or alternatively, I think something like Midnight or the Night token actually looks quite tradable as well. And this is not as affected and as correlated to Bitcoin and the news. That's what I would do. But I will keep you updated on this a little bit later today. I'll be back with a full middle of the day market update in which we'll talk about this. We'll also talk about the Bank of Japan hike and what to expect from that. But those are my thoughts. Thank you for coming to the live stream, everybody. It was great fun as well. I hope you all enjoyed and saw some value in the live streams I did this week. We also did one on Tuesday, of course. I at least find them very fun, especially when there's news to talk about. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in my next videos. There's also a very interesting video, by the way, coming out later today. And last but not least, make sure I did a video on this a little bit earlier this week. I made a video on Picasso markets, okay? You can see that right here, Picasso markets. Make sure to check that out, okay? I genuinely do think it's a very interesting opportunity for all of you. There's a link down in the description where you can sign up to their platform. It's all for free. They're launching their main product soon. And if you start playing it right now, you can earn points very quickly, and down the line that can actually result in quite a major airdrop, which I think a lot of you are interested in. So check that out. But like I said, Picasso markets, you can find the video. I uploaded it 2 days ago. Check that out. For now, I'll see you on my next videos. Take care and bye.